Okay, so we have to read today from chapter 2, verse 14. But before we do that, we can do a little bit of recap from last time. So let me share the screen again. Okay, so anybody would like to recite this verse? I told this is one of the very important verse that we should try to memorize this. So anyone interested to recite the Sanskrit verse? Okay, somebody is unmuted, but I cannot hear you. Okay, let me try. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. Somebody can follow along with me.
Yeah, Prabhu, my daughter will study, Prabhu. Yeah.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यदा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तदा देहान्तरप्राप्ति धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. As the body,
Yes, go ahead, read.
as the body's soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered.
I'm sorry. It lost. Okay.
Bewildered by such a change.
Thank you. What is your name?
Vaishnavi Korde.
Harshini. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you remember this sloka by heart?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Very good. So do you know from this picture, where are you? You are in body number 3 or 4. Where are you?
I kind
1,
of. Huh?
3, 4. You see my cursor?
What?
Do you see the mouse moving on this picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try to project that. Just hold on. I think it takes such a long time to project this slide somehow. Okay, okay. I have this system. Okay. So now, Harshini, can you see these bodies? Like there is a baby, then somebody crawling, then walking, then
What?
there is here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me which number of body you are there? How big are you here in this body?
What?
Where are you in that body?
I think I'm between the 4th and the 5th.
Okay. So you are there, and how old are you now?
I'm 9.
9. Okay. So 5 years ago, where were you? 5 years ago.
I was in the 3rd stage.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. So it is you only, right? You're changing body.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Probably.
You're changing body. You see, all of us are doing like that.
Yeah. Probably.
Your parents are in like maybe 7, 8 stage here.
Yeah.
So like that, we are all changing bodies, but
Yeah.
we are all eternal. Only the
Yeah.
body is changing. Only the body is changing. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhuji.
yeah, thank you. So let's go to verse 14. So I will read the Sanskrit. Matra isparsastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada Agama payino nitya tam titikshashva bharata. Okay. Somebody again volunteer, read the translation.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception, O Saikin of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Thank you. So, Krishna has told in previous verses that, the soul is eternal. Only the body is changing. Soul was there in the past. Soul will be there in the future. As the body is changing during this lifetime, similarly, there will be a different body after this body is finished. So if you understand Arjuna, then you should not be disturbed by this. Now he's saying that, there may be theoretical knowledge of this, but you may not have a practical realized knowledge that you are the soul. Then what to do? You may still get the pain and pleasure because of the senses. So which come and go. The pain and pleasure of the body is not permanent, which come and go just like the weather is changing, the season is changing. So after summer there will be fall and winter. Nowadays we have winter. So we have to learn to tolerate the situation if we are not completely situated in the spiritual consciousness. Then we have to learn to tolerate without getting disturbed. So let us read the purport now. Let me try to share the verse from the website. Okay, chapter 2, verse 14. Okay. Okay, so somebody read purport.
In
Any
the
other?
proper
Go ahead, Mathu, go ahead.
In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearance and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principle does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman who does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June and the hottest part of summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of Kshatriya, and although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulation of religious principle in order to rise up the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion only one can liberate himself from clutches of Maya. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kauntya signifies his great blood relation from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting.
Thank you so much. So let us see this one. Okay. So the happiness and distress is basically is coming because of the bodily consciousness. Soul is eternal. Soul is not feeling the happiness or distress. But because when it is attached to the bodily consciousness, then it feels it. So the body has senses, and senses touch the sense objects. I'm trying to project, yeah. And that produces pain and happiness. Whenever there is a material senses contacting the objects of senses, then one feels pain and pleasure. So if someone has a higher goal than just the temporary situation, if someone has a long-term goal, like somebody is in school and they have to, the pass their exam and they go to the next grade. So to transition that, one has to go through, tolerance of the situation. That means despite the inconvenience, you have to go to school. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada is telling that if someone is a spiritualist, they have to take bath early in the morning, even it is cold. So he's giving example in India, like they go and take bath in rivers or lake. Similarly, he gives example of, ladies, those who are homemakers, they have to cook for their family. So despite the very hot weather, they have to do this. So what is the benefit of doing this is that because if someone follows that, then one can get the knowledge. One can rise to the platform of knowledge. And because of the knowledge and devotion only, one can liberate himself from illusion of bodily consciousness. This is what we learn. So because of the knowledge and devotion, one can get over the bodily consciousness. So the process that we follow is by placing ourselves in touch with Krishna. The process to be in touch with Krishna is to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is our process by which we try to connect with Krishna. Whenever we chant Hare Krishna, we are connected with Krishna. So despite our situation, whether it is a cold weather or hot weather, one has to do one's duty. That's for everyone. But according to the psychophysical nature also, there are duties. Like, for example, 2 duties mentioned here. One homemaker has to cook for the family, and another spiritualist has to take early morning walk. So one has to tolerate the situation, and one has to adjust. Like, one has to, instead of complaining that this is cold, this is hot, but one has to do the duty to overcome the bodily consciousness. So that is the message we get. Now, verse 15. Yam hi na vyatayante te purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram swamritatvaya kalpate. Okay, another volunteer for this verse.
Oh, best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
Thank you. So here Lord Krishna is telling that who is eligible for liberation? The one who is not disturbed by happiness, distress, and is focused in his duty, engaged in his duty without getting disturbed. So one has to tolerate. In last verse he was saying, and then he is saying one should not get disturbed. So both of these verses combined together, Lord Krishna is saying that instead of stopping doing one's duty, one should tolerate the situation and be steady in one's duty. Then one is eligible for liberation. The entanglement or the engagement of the soul inside the body is because of the karma, the desire for enjoyment, desire for the material sense enjoyment that brings us to this body and then bodily enjoyment. So to get ourselves over this bodily consciousness and entanglement in the body, one has to act as per one's prescribed duty. Then one is eligible for liberation. So Arjuna may be arguing that, well, I don't have to do any karma. Because of the karma, I got this body. So I just run to the forest. I am not doing karma. So I am okay. But that is not what Lord Krishna is saying, that even if you go to forest, you are generating karmas. It's not just that you are not doing your social duty, just go to the forest. In forest also, you are generating karma by your thought, your deed there. So you cannot stop karma unless and until you do your prescribed duty. That's what the message by Lord Krishna here. So again, the message is that one has to tolerate the pain and pleasure, tolerate the heat and cold. Because we are not able to immediately come to the soul platform. We're not immediately, absorbed in our spiritual identity. We still have bodily identity. This section is about the identity. Who am I? So Lord Krishna is telling that, Arjuna, you are eternal soul, like everyone else here. You are eternal. The soul is eternal. And therefore, nobody is killed. Only the body is changing. The soul is not killed. So if you cannot be situated in your spiritual identity immediately, then go on doing your duty. Stick to your dharmic duty. That means you are a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya body, you are trained to fight. You are trained to protect your citizens. So you are a soldier. You have a military duty. So that is your dharma. That is your duty. So therefore, you have to do your duty to purify yourself. And while doing your duty, you have to tolerate this inconvenience. Because by doing your prescribed duty, you will get knowledge and devotion. This is re-emphasizing here. And then you are eligible for liberation. So tolerance, somebody may say, I'm just tolerating somebody, or I'm tolerating the cold, and then I'm not prepared. I just go, without enough clothing. It's not like that. It's not passive accepting the things, but you have to adjust yourself. And in such a way that it is not distracting yourself. It's not that you just stand in the cold and tolerate, and then you cannot, chant and hear Bhagavad Gita. You cannot chant Hare Krishna. It's not like that. You have to adjust your life in such a way that your duty, your occupational duty, your spiritual duty, that can go smoothly without hindrance, without any disturbance. And you can focus on your spiritual awakening, inner change. So let us go to the 16 now. Okay. Okay, I think I have not displayed the verse here. So let me go to the website. Okay. Okay, na satto vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtantva, anayo tattvadarshinaha. Okay, next volunteer. Translation and purport.
Those who, yeah, go ahead, Mataji, go ahead.
Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport: there is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by the actions and reaction of the different cell is admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and the spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. In the Vishnu Purana 2.1238, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodis all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotimisi Vishnur Bhuvani Vishnu. The words existent and non-existence refer only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involved the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable and the constituent understanding of the difference between the part and partial living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutra, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance, and to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time.
Thank you so much. So now we'll see some points here. So Krishna says, na sato asata vidyate bhava. So asata, which is the body, which is non-existent, which is because it is always changing. So therefore it is called asat, non-existent. So there is no endurance. So it is not going to last. It is going to finish. Whereas the sata, na bhava vidyate sata, na bhava, there is no, it's not going to finish. What is not going to finish? The eternal soul, Sat, which is not going to finish because it is eternal. So body is always going to finish. The material body and all material situations are temporary because it is always changing. Therefore, there is no actual existence. It's fluid, always moving. Like we saw the picture that, every day, like Srila Prabhupada is saying, every day there is a change in the cells. And because of that, we are getting older and older and older. So our shape and size of the body is continuously changing every day. So the thing which is Sata, that means the soul, is eternal. And it is not going to finish. But body is definitely going to finish. And it is concluded. Antaha, that means the conclusion. The conclusion is not by anybody, but the seer of truth. Those who have realized this knowledge, the truth. So Krishna, although he is the authority from whom the supreme knowledge is coming, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, but he is still trying to convince Arjuna that this is realized by the seer of the truth. So similarly, when you practice your prescribed duty, your spiritual duty, then you can also realize the truth of the soul as eternal and body as perishable. And there is a difference between, although both impersonalists and personalists accept the existence of soul, eternality, but as Lord Krishna says in verse 12, that Lord Krishna is the eternal, and there we learned that there is one supreme entity. He is Krishna. He is maintaining all other living entities. They are all eternal. We are all eternal. But there is one who is maintaining all others. So Lord Krishna is that supreme soul who is maintaining all others. So there is a difference between the knowledge, Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport, that one has to get this knowledge, begin with getting this knowledge is that we are eternal soul and Krishna is the supreme soul, and there is a relationship between part and whole. So because Krishna is the maintainer, he is the source, so he is the master and Arjuna is the servant, and all the living entities are servant. He is the maintainer and we are maintained. And therefore he is a teacher and we are taught. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport towards the end that such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So to remove the ignorance, what is the ignorance? That I am thinking I am the body. If I think I am the soul, sometimes there is a misconception. The impersonalists think that I become God. There is no difference between soul and the super soul. So that is misconception, because super soul or Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, he is a maintainer. And we are maintained. He is the master, we are servants. Ekala Ishwar Krishna Ara Sabhavritya. It is said that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself. He tells that everybody is servant of God. Everybody is there to please the Lord. Everybody has to work for God's pleasure, Krishna's pleasure. So the knowledge is coming from Krishna, the supreme authority, the supreme guru. And one should not think that I am God, because that is The last snare of Maya. Srila Prabhupada says there is a last snare of Maya that one has to think that, oh, after I die, I become God. This morning there was a question by a devotee that, yes, after death, I'm thinking that I have only one soul. I'm covered with Maya, and then whenever it is removed, I become God. But that concept is not sustained, because Lord Krishna is saying that I am eternal, you are eternal. All of us are eternal. So it is not that you are going to finish in the future. You're going to stay individual. So you're going to stay a servant. That's what the message is. So I think we have some more time. We can go over the, I think that's, okay. We can go to verse 17 now. Avinashi tu tadvidi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasam abhyayasya yasya na kaschit kartum arhasi. Okay, next volunteer.
Yeah, that which preserves the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Sarvam idam tatam. So here, sarvam, all of the body. Tatam pervades. So that which pervades the entire body, anything within your body which is pervading the entire body and giving you the consciousness, that is indestructible, avinashi, imperishable. It's not going to finish. Nobody is going to be able to destroy or finish that imperishable soul, which is spread all over the body. Srila Prabhupada gives example that like the active principle of a medicine is spread all over your body, like the sunshine is spread all over the universe. So like that, the soul is lightening the whole body and energizing it. He says the soul is seated in the heart, and the body gets energized by the soul. Because when the soul leaves the body, even though all the chemicals are present in the body becomes unconscious, inanimate. So the one which sustains the body is soul. So nature of the soul is described in this verse. What is the symptom of the soul? How do we know there is the soul present? Because there is a consciousness. Because I can feel the pain and pleasure for this body. So that consciousness is the symptom of soul. The difference between dead body and living body is that the presence or absence of this soul, which you can perceive by the consciousness. We cannot see the soul because it is very small, but we can perceive the presence of the soul by consciousness. And it is spread all over the body like the medicine spread when you are injected. So our soul, we are conscious of our own body. Each one of us in this call, or everyone, every human or any animal or any living entity, is encaged in certain body. And the feeling of the soul is limited, the feeling, pain and pleasure of that body on which the soul is residing. But God, in the form of Paramatma of the super soul, is also sitting next to the soul, and he is aware of everybody's pain and pleasure, but we are aware of only our own body's pain and pleasure. This will be clarified more in future verses. So the soul's nature is described here. Srila Prabhupada will tell in purport. I think we should read that purport. Srila Prabhupada will tell that soul is very small and therefore it is invisible. It is imperishable, so it cannot be destroyed. It came in the verse. Srila Prabhupada tells, quoting the verses, that the soul is situated in the heart and it gives energy to the body. Because of that, it gets animation and the body is surviving. And the soul is like the molecules of sun rays, or the photon, you can say in scientific term, and God is like sun, and we are all like the molecules of the sun rays. So let me go to the purport once. I think it will be good to read the purport so that we can get more from the Srila Prabhupada word. Okay, Prabhu, okay, who was reading? Please continue.
Yeah, this verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and the pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pain and pleasure of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is pursued as individual consciousness. This is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size.
Can you see now?
Yes, when the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts. Each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly,
So
the same version is stated.
yeah. So you got it like you divide the tip of the hair to 100 part, and then take one of those part, and then again divide it to 100 part. So it becomes 1/10,000th part, 1 in 10,000 of the size of tip of hair. Go ahead.
Therefore, the individual part, there are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of the spirit soul is the spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. The current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be received by the body or by means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. In the measurement of the atomic spiritual influence is exhibited. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the.
There is one paragraph before this.
Okay. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by the perfect intelligence. The atomic soul is floating in the five kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the five kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the 5 kinds of air, encircling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures, not for any material profit, but for liberation of the minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So the constitution of the atomic soul is admitted in all the Vedic literatures and is also actually felt in the practical representation of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of its atomic soul as all pervading Vishnu Tattva. The influence of
So here, Srila Prabhupada is trying to say that only insane man can think this soul is equal to, super soul or God. So the Vedic literature is telling that there is a soul, and then you can feel there is a soul, but it is not equal to God. That's what Prabhupada is trying to say here. Okay. Continue, Prabhu. Let's finish these 2 paragraphs. Okay, it seems we lost him. Oh. Can someone else take over?
Yeah, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity, and because the measurements of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body. Such atomic particles of the spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragment parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha or superior energy. So, whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of spirit soul in the body. And the science of the soul is explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita by the personality of Godhead himself.
So I will learn in science of self-realization that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is the source of all spiritual and material things in this whole creation. And therefore he is the source of the knowledge also. The Vedic knowledge comes from him. So he is our supreme authority. Therefore, we have to accept his instruction given in the Bhagavad Gita. And that will make our life easier. So that is the Shabda Praman. It is called Shabda Praman, by which we have to receive the knowledge that will be perfect. Whereas the knowledge received by the empirical methods, the extending process, like doing a gas work or direct perception by the senses, are not perfect. But the knowledge given by Supreme Lord Krishna is coming directly from the source, therefore it is perfect. And we have to accept that the existence of the soul, as per Lord Krishna is explaining in this Bhagavad Gita. In future chapters, he will tell that I am seated in everyone's heart. And then he says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutana Hridaya Arjuna Tishtati. He says, Ishvara, or the Supreme Lord, as Paramatma, is sitting in everyone's heart. So, Srila Prabhupada has given in this purport that soul is there along with super soul, and from there, the bodily energies are gathered, and the body is alive and active, surviving. If there is no soul in the body, then it is a dead body. So only Srila Prabhupada says that some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul, because they do not accept, even logically, it is very clear that, as long as you have consciousness, there is a soul, presence of the soul. But then some people, even they see the body, like there are some religious group, they say that only the men have soul, animals do not have soul, therefore we can do whatever we like to them. So it is just the way they want to exploit some other living entities, and they just say they don't have soul. But how do they know? There is the cows, there are other animals, they are also, we can feel that they are conscious. There is a difference between the dead cow and living cow, dead dog and living dog. There is a difference. So each animal and each plant, they have soul. So therefore there is a difference between living and dead. So any question on this so far before we conclude with the last verse of today? If not now, then I can take the last verse. Let's take that one. Okay, verse 18. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Okay, next volunteer.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Thank you. So in verse 16, Lord Krishna says, for the eternal, there is no destruction. So for the soul is not going to finish any time, and body is not going to stay forever. And this is a conclusion of the seer of the truth. But in verse 17, he emphasizes how the soul is eternal and how the soul cannot be destroyed. Now in this verse, he is telling the second part of verse 16. So verse 16 is a summary, and 17 and 18 are expansion of how the soul is eternal. And this verse is saying the body is destructible. So the material body of the indestructible, that means the material body which is covering the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity. So he gives the nature of the soul here, which is cannot be destroyed, cannot be measured, and it is eternal. But the body is sure to come to end. It is not going to last forever. Therefore, now he tells him that, you are not going to kill. So those verses will come that, therefore you're not going to kill. So therefore you fight, do your duty. Because by doing your duty, you're going to get liberation. Anyway, the body is going to finish. You cannot keep it, preserve it forever. So today or tomorrow they will die. So why not do your duty? Okay. So the nature of body is again emphasized here, that that body is perishable, it is temporary, and therefore no one can stop death. The light of the soul maintains this material body. That means the soul gives energy to this material body. And then the minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body because of the karma, the past deeds, according to the work. And therefore, observance of religious principles should be utilized. So, by observing the religious principles or the duties, one changes the nature of the work. And when we are working, instead of working for our own enjoyment, when we work for the enjoyment of Krishna, because Krishna is the source, Krishna is the maintainer, and Krishna has designed us for certain purpose. He is the master and we are the servant. So we have to do our duty for which we have taken birth. By doing so, we can get rid of this material conditioning and we can get liberation, and we can be situated in the eternal nature of the soul. And therefore we can get rid of the pains and pleasures of the body, because once we are beyond this body, there is no such pain and material pain for the soul. Soul is always eternal, soul is imperishable, and soul is full of knowledge, and soul is also full of ananda or bliss. So one has to aspire to get liberated by following the rules and regulations given by our spiritual master, which is coming through the instruction of Bhagavad Gita from Lord Krishna himself. Okay. So this 17 and 18, in summary, 17 is telling about the imperishable nature of Atma or the soul. And verse 18 is telling about the temporality of the body. The body is going to finish. So Srila Prabhupada says the end of this verse that from both viewpoints there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. So body is certainly going to finish, soul is never going to be finished. Therefore, Arjuna, do your duty. Be established in your real identity and do your prescribed duty. Okay. So any question or discussion on that now? Okay, if someone can read the purport quickly.
The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So, from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires the material body according to his work, and therefore observance of religious principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutras, the living entity is qualified as light because he is a part and parcel of the supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is a spirit soul which maintains this body. This body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations.
Thank you so much. So what is the takeaway message for today, Anil Prabhu?
So today's takeaway message is like the soul is eternal and the body is temporary. So like we should not like there. I mean the as seasons changes, so our body, the nature of our body also changes, but the soul remains the same. So the thing is like though even though we feel difficult to do certain things in certain seasons like summer season, like we do our regular cooking in spite of uh, very hot summer. So we should do our regular duty irrespective of hard situations. That's the part, or any kind of situations. So that's the message for our today's class.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, Swami Mataji, any thought, any question?
Yeah, I'm good, Prabhuji.
Okay. You got your Bhagavad Gita now?
Yeah, I got it, Prabhuji. Yesterday I got it. Thank you. And I have to
Great.
pay amount for
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. That's fine. Narayana Prabhu, you can contact him. Yeah. You have his
Yeah,
contact information.
thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much. Are you chanting Hare
Yeah,
Krishna daily?
I'll get it through WhatsApp. I started to read.
No,
Yeah, I just saw. Um, today I took the book and I just reviewed the topics which we discussed last week.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for your interest. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Hare
see
Krishna.
Prachi is next. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any question or any relation or any message that you got today?
I don't have any question. It's just for today, like we learned about like our body changes, but soul remains same. And yeah,
And therefore,
it's like we have to follow the path of Krishna. Like we have to do our prescribed duty instead
yes.
of like whatever hurdle come in between. We have to tolerate, but like in a way of like you explained, like it's not like you are saying like you are tolerating colds, you will not worship or you will not chant. So that is a different thing.
Yes.
Like with daily work, you have to give the time to Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. Yeah, Laulina Mataji has been there in Gita class already before. So, you have any relation, Mataji?
Prabhu's soul is indestructible, right? So we should not, and body is destructible, so we should not lamentate, when body gets destroyed.
Hmm. Yeah.
We have
So,
to take care of the thing which is eternal, which is our soul.
right. Yeah. So, we should not be in illusion, or not overly attached to the body. As long as we are in this body, we also have to, take care of the body, but we cannot completely ignore, right? But because the soul is present, that like we take care of our car, it is helping us to be go around. We also take care of our dresses. We have to clean and so maintain it like that. The body also has to be maintained, but not to be attached, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
But the purpose of taking care of body is to take care of soul.
Yes, exactly, Mother. Yes. I mean, if we just take care of the body and not take care of the soul, that means, we miss the opportunity to be liberated, right? We just get entangled again. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have next in list is Pratima. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
I don't have any points or anything this time. Thank you.
Okay. You got the copy of Bhagavad Gita you have with you?
I have it. Yes, I have it, sir.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is the fundamental knowledge we are going to, going to get in this section, identity. And so it is very clearly explained by Lord Krishna that we are all eternal. And Srila Prabhupada is helping us that we are not going to become God. So Srila Prabhupada helps us to refute that we are all eternal now and also in the future. So there are some impersonalist conclusions that there should not be derived. That after the body is finished, soul becomes super soul, Atma becomes Paramatma, Atma is merging in Paramatma, and then we lose the identity. So Srila Prabhupada is saving us from there, because once we think that we become God, that means the service to the God is finished. Our loving relationship to God is finished there. So that is a kind of illusion. So one has to always think one's relationship with Krishna and try to develop that loving relationship with him. Like the devotees, the pure devotees, they never want to get separated from their service to Krishna. So thank you so much. We have we have got some more devotees here. Akhila, I don't remember if we were there last time. Akhil or Akhila?
No.
Akhila? Yeah, thank you. You have anything to share, Akhila?
No, Guruji, I'm good.
Are you in this St. Louis area?
Yes, I'm in St. Louis.
Okay. You have
My
got
kid is 3 years, so I'm trying to get him to listen, but he doesn't understand just listening.
your son
Yeah.
is 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So he's very young.
Yeah, very
So,
young.
so you can help to read and chant Hare Krishna. So yeah, definitely children get benefit when we are in Sadhu Sangha. So yeah. Are you in touch with any devotee in Hare Krishna temple?
No.
Okay. Maybe like when he gets little bit bigger, at least 4 year, I think. When he gets 4 year, then there is a children's school. They regularly teach children about these spiritual sciences.
Okay.
So it will benefit him. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So we have, I think, Indira Prakash. Anything to share?
Last week I could not join because I changed my telephone. I could not get to work. This is good actually.
Yeah, sometime.
I have my mother tongue version of this one. I'll purchase the English version tomorrow. Actually. That will be better actually.
Okay, you are in Hyderabad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ISKCON Hyderabad will have the copy.
Yeah. Two temples are there here. One in Abbots and one in Secunderabad actually.
Yeah. Do you, have you been to the ISKCON?
Yeah. Many times actually.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for joining, and hope everybody, did I miss anybody? I don't think so. So please, read next 5 verses, and then we will discuss next time. Thank you so much. Have a great week and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.